The fiscal strategy, the government's fiscal strategy, is outlined in box 1 on page 37 of the budget paper number 1. And it states, and I quote, "New spending measures will be more than offset by reductions in spending elsewhere in the budget." I just want to ensure the people here who do all the hard work are aware of that, accept that that's the government strategy.
I do, Senator.
Not a surprise to you at all?
But it's published in the budget papers, and given the involvement of Treasury and the fiscal group in particular in the budget process, it'll be a matter of concern if the fiscal strategy came as a surprise to them.
Yeah, that's fine.
But when the fiscal strategy, this is for the 18-19 budget forward estimates period, as we discussed in finance.
Well, the fiscal strategy is that new spending measures will be more than offset by reductions in spending elsewhere in the budget.
And over the forward estimates they are.
Yeah, but does that commitment, why shouldn't that commitment apply over 5 years, including the current year?
Well, in the 17-18 financial year, we're obviously now very close to the end of that financial year. We now know that the underlying cash balance is $11.2 billion better, roughly, than what was anticipated at the budget time last year.
That's not.
And in part, that is because
of increased revenue.
Well, that is not entirely true. I mean, in part it's because of increased revenue. In part it's because of increased revenue. In part it's because of lower expenditure. Now, if I may finish, and as I've also indicated to you the other week, expenditure in 17-18 is about $7 billion less than what was anticipated expenditure would be in 17-18 in the 14-15 budget. So in the context of significant reductions in expenditure, obviously once you get closer to the end of the actual financial year that you're in, you've got the capacity to make these sorts of judgments.
Yes, but the strategy specifically says new spending measures will be more than offset by reductions in spending elsewhere in the budget. Why shouldn't that commitment apply over the 5 years, including the current year?
Because we're looking at the 4-year budget forward estimates period. I mean,
so that commitment only applies after this year, does it?
Well, the chart of budget honesty, of course, provides that the government provides the budget with the upcoming budget year plus 3 years, and over that 4-year period, all of the policy decisions on the payment side of the budget taken together, the net effect is a $404 million improvement in the budget bottom line. But it is true that in 17-18, in the context of a material improvement in the bottom line, a material improvement on the spending side of the budget, as well as a material improvement on the revenue side of the budget, the government has made certain judgments, which are all, of course, openly and transparently published in the budget papers. But I mean, you're entitled to have a different view. That is, of course, entirely your right. But the government has made the decision that in all of the circumstances, it was appropriate to make these decisions.
Yeah, the government is entitled to make its decisions as it chooses, and I'm not questioning its entitlement to do that. All I'm asking is whether it's actually true to say that the government is sticking to its strategy of new spending measures being more than offset by reductions in spending elsewhere in the budget. What you've just confirmed to me is that applies to the forward estimates period, not the current year.
Well, this is the 18-19 budget forward estimates period, that's right, and I can confirm that over the 18-19 budget forward estimates period, we have complied with that rule.
Yeah. This is for the Treasury officials rather than you, Minister. In every year in which this commitment has been given, hundreds of millions of dollars have been shoved out the door between budget night and the 30th of June. Is Treasury comfortable with that? Do you ever push back when you're asked to do that? Or is it put in the category of a government policy and you therefore just go along with it?
Well, the problem that I've got, and I know you say the question is directed at the Treasury officials, but firstly, there was a characterisation in there which some would describe as political, and the second thing is you've actually asked the officials to provide you with an opinion, which the standing orders explicitly say they can't provide you.